Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the NoDQ.com live recap of AEW Dynamite for Wednesday, January 19th, 2022. Thank you all for watching tonight. I very much appreciate your viewership and your support. If you enjoy this video, tell a friend, spread the word, have them say yes to NoDQ. Anyways, let's get started with this episode of Dynamite. It was a big one. We were in Washington, D.C., the city that hosted the very first edition of Dynamite back in October of 2019. Man, my dates are off so far here. Hopefully I don't keep messing up. We had Jon Moxley making his return for the first time since, I believe, the beginning of November or late October. Jon Moxley came to the ring. The crowd was chanting, "Welcome back." They were happy to see him back, although there was one fan that was not so thrilled about Moxley being back, and he yelled out something about Moxley being a drunk, told him to get out of the ring, something like that. And the first thing that Moxley said when he got on the mic, he told that fan, and I quote, "Go fuck yourself." Yes, he dropped the F-bomb, was not censored. And then he told the security to get that fan out of the building, called him a piece of shit. And that started Dynamite, everybody. By the way, I just wanted to say Moxley looked great, looked a bit leaner, looked very healthy. And he cut this amazing promo, and the crowd was really hanging on every single word that he said. Moxley talked about how people carry scars both on the outside and the inside, and sometimes people try to hide those scars. He said people should be proud of those scars. Those are the scars that make them who they are. He said that if everybody was perfect, the world would be boring. He said that there are still people that doubt him, still people that want to write him off. He said that he does not run from his demons. Instead, he just beats the shit out of his demons. And he said that he is going to grab wrestling by the balls now that he is truly free. He said that nobody can put him through any more hell than what he's already been through. And he said that if people thought he was dangerous before, all he drinks now is blood. Dylan Hensley with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate it. Says, F that heckler. I agree on that. And this was a fantastic way to reintroduce Jon Moxley, just speaking from the heart. Joey Perez says that bum needed to be thrown out for that weak jab on Moxley. Yeah, I wonder if that fan actually was thrown out for heckling Moxley. I mean, I guess if you buy a ticket, you can say whatever you want, but if Moxley says for the guy to be thrown out, not sure if they're going to defy him. Really strong start, though, for Dynamite this week. Definitely worth your time to check out if you missed it. And then we had MJF backstage with Wardlow. MJF said that it was Wardlow's birthday, and because of that, MJF issued an apology for what happened last week with Wardlow losing to CM Punk. However, because Wardlow put his hands on MJF, MJF said he is going to have to dock the pay of Wardlow, but maybe over time, Wardlow can work his way back up to what he was being paid before. Johnny Boy says MJF and CM Punk has cooled off. Well, we'll get to that more here in just a few minutes with MJF and CM Punk. We had our first match of the evening, which was Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander up against Adam Cole, Bebe, and Britt Baker, DMD. You had Britt Baker taunting Orange Cassidy, and Orange started doing his kicks. She stepped on his foot, but then Chris Statlander tagged in. She slammed Britt down and gave Britt the boop. And we had Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander with the upper hand for a while. They did the big hug, giving the people what they want, but then they got hit with super kicks from Cole and Baker. And then the match went back and forth for a while. You had a stomp to Orange Cassidy from Britt Baker when the referee wasn't looking. And then Adam Cole ended up protecting Britt Baker as Chris Statlander was going for her 450 splash. She hit it anyways onto Cole, who was protecting Britt Baker. And then you had Britt Baker hit Statlander with a Canadian destroyer on the ramp. And back in the ring, you had Cole hitting the Panama Sunrise to Orange Cassidy, but Orange Cassidy kicked out. Crowd was chanting AEW. Then we had Cole and Britt Baker grabbing the timekeeper's table. They brought it into the ring. Orange Cassidy knocked Britt off the apron through the table, not on purpose. He was trying to go for Cole, and Cole was just furious about this. Cole hit a low blow and then finished off Orange Cassidy with the last shot, the boom, whatever he's calling it now. And he picked up the win. After the match, he went to check on his girl, Britt Baker, who was still laid out from going through the table. A very entertaining match here to start off the show. And I agree with Gary Joe. It was a fun opener. Very good stuff here from everybody involved. And then backstage, Cole cut this promo saying that he's already beaten Orange Cassidy in tag matches, in singles matches. He challenged Orange Cassidy to a no DQ, anything goes, lights out match for next week's Beach Break edition of Dynamite in Cleveland, Ohio. That will be next week, and I sense we're going to see Orange Cassidy pick up the win here since it's lights out, which means technically it doesn't count for the win-loss records. Adam Cole is undefeated since coming to AEW. He can take this loss, and technically it doesn't count. We had Chris Jericho backstage with Santana and Ortiz. And Jericho used his new phrase talking about how Eddie Kingston can GFY, which is the same line that Moxley used towards a fan earlier in the show. Santana and Ortiz, they were not really thrilled with Chris Jericho. They said that maybe Eddie Kingston was right about him. So a little bit of dissension among the ranks of the inner circle. And they questioned whether Jericho really had their back at all during the run of the inner circle. And this set up a tag match for next week as well. We're going to see Jericho teaming up with Santana and Ortiz against Daniel Garcia and 2.0. We had CM Punk versus Shawn Spears. And MJF arrived for commentary. This was a one-move match. CM Punk hit the GTS and picked up the instant victory. Match was like 5 seconds long, and I was fine with this. I mean, when they announced this match, I'm like, does anybody think that Shawn Spears has a snowball chance in hell of winning this? So yeah, they just did a quick 5-second squash match. I'm all for it. Works for me. After the match was over, MJF tried to sneak into the ring, but CM Punk caught him, grabbed him by the scarf. However, MJF was able to escape. And this was fine. There was a comment earlier about the feud cooling off. I feel like they're trying to drag it out to Revolution, which is, I believe, the beginning of March, which seems kind of long to hold off on doing this match. Maybe that's why it's feeling like it's cooled off. I think they need to do the match soon, and maybe they will. Maybe they will do it in a couple of weeks. But it feels like it's time for CM Punk versus MJF, and they can't keep just dragging it out. We'll see if we get that match coming up soon. And thank you guys for the compliments on the t-shirt. I appreciate it. Some people in the chat thinking maybe Santana and Ortiz will finally break away from Chris Jericho. We'll see. Will Eddie Kingston go heel? The crowd loves Eddie Kingston. I feel like it might be difficult to have Eddie Kingston as a heel. Will Jericho go back to being a heel? I guess we'll have to wait and see how things play out with that, but maybe we finally will get that inner circle split. Moving on here, we had Billy Gunn backstage, and he confronted Christian Cage, and they wanted a title match with the Gunn Club getting a shot at Jurassic Express. Christian said they need to make a statement first, so that's what they did. The Gunn Club, the boys of Billy Gunn, they attacked Christian from behind, laid him out, and then they said, statement made. Guess we'll be seeing the Gunn Club versus Jurassic Express, and I am taking a wild guess that the champs will retain. DJW with a $5 super chat says, is there anything else that Punk and MJF can do on the mic? Really, Aaron? Well, you're right. They've cut these promos back and forth, and it's time to do the match. Like, I think waiting till Revolution is too long. You know, they could do a match on TV and then have a rematch at Revolution. Kind of a WWE thing to do with the rematch, but at this point, I think that would be the best way to go. Do a regular match on TV and then maybe do a grudge match at Revolution. And Mike says, is it just me or was that Gun Club beatdown weak? Well, they threw Christian into the door to get into the arena, the garage door, and yeah, they threw him into it a couple of times. So wasn't anything too significant, but I guess just any kind of beatdown is trying to send a message and trying to get their opportunity at the tag team title. So it was fine for what it was. I mean, I really wasn't expecting any kind of serious beatdown, but yeah, you would think that maybe they would try to like seriously hurt him. I guess they just wanted to send a message. These Gun Club kids, they got some class. You know, they could have seriously hurt the guy, but they just wanted to rough him up a little bit and say, hey, we want our shot. Next time you might not be so lucky. We had Cody Rhodes making his return after missing a whole week of AEW Dynamite. He showed up, and the first thing he said, by the way, there was a ladder in the ring, which kind of gave away what the ending of this segment was going to be. Cody said, what do you guys want to talk about? And he started to bring up CM Punk's pipe bomb from 2011 and how it was the first whiff of a revolution. Crowd started to chant Royal Rumble. Cody pretty much just stopped his promo and let the fans finish up with their chants. Some people were booing the Royal Rumble chant, by the way, so it did get drowned out. And then Cody went back to his promo, talked about how he is not going to turn heel because the fans were there for him when they needed him the most. Cody, he started his own revolution. He followed through with what CM Punk was talking about. He went out there and he built this forbidden door. He started working in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He started working in Ring of Honor. And he said that he made these changes that CM Punk was talking about. Then he started talking about what's been going on in AEW. As of late, he brought up how the Young Bucks are feuding with the Undisputed Era. And he said, you know, quite frankly, he doesn't need to see the Bucks beat up the developmental guys more than once. Ouch. Little shot at WWE. And then he started continuing with his shots at WWE. He brought up how there are guys that get their names changed to random things. And he said that in the case of Brody King, Brody comes in and has the balls to use the name Brody in AEW, because of the big shoes to fill. I think the exact phrase he used was, I know we're not in the business of renaming people Gunner McGillibuddy. So yes, that was another knock at WWE for changing people's names. He continued. He talked about the TNT title finally, and then he issued his challenge for next week at Beach Break. 2 champions. There's 2 titles, but at the end of the match, the ladder match, there will only be 1 champion. And then Cody climbed the ladder to wrap up the promo. I liked the promo. It did drag a little bit, and he did the usual WWE knocks. He didn't even tease a Royal Rumble appearance. So, yeah, he made no reference to that. I think at one point he did kind of reference his contract. Apparently he's a free agent. He brought up how Tony Khan sent him and Sammy Guevara a contract, but it wasn't the contract he was wanting. So, yes, he did kind of reference his contractual status. It was a very good promo. I did like it. Maybe it dragged on a little bit. And, he's doing the whole thing of not rising or not what's the term that Kane said? Embrace the hate. That's what I was looking for. Instead, he's rising above hate. He's continuing to do the whole John Cena, people can boo me, but I'm not gonna leave you guys. I'm not gonna turn against you guys. That sort of thing. So far, it's nothing that we haven't seen already. He was teasing this idea that he would go in this direction that we're not expecting. So far, that hasn't happened yet. The whole ladder match thing was expected, taking a shot at WWE. We kind of expect that by now. So it was more or less what you would expect, but I thought the delivery was very good from Cody. So I did enjoy it. And no, I would not expect him to be in the Royal Rumble. I think that's very unlikely. I would be legitimately surprised, but good segment here. And I like the build up for next week. Moving on here, we had a tag team match. Malakai Black and Brody King. Brody King in his first match on Dynamite, their first match as a tag team. Not sure if it's new music for Malakai Black or it's music for them as a tag team, but there was new music. And they had a match with the Varsity Blondes. Pretty much a glorified squash match. The little storyline here was that Brian Pillman Jr. lost his confidence. He second-guessed hitting the air Pillman to Brody, and there was some friction between Pillman and Griff Garrison. Brody King attacked both of them on the outside. It was actually Garrison protecting Pillman and taking the brunt of the punishment, but Brody was able to make short work of Pillman and pinned him. After the match was over, Pac had another video package. He's got his blindfold on. He says he has a new vision, and basically he's coming after Malakai Black. And there you go. Malakai Black versus Pac in the future. We had Hangman Adam Page and Lance Archer, a little video package for them. Jake the Snake Roberts is back with Archer, and it looks like Dan Lambert is also working with Lance Archer. We had Kazarian going up against Lance Archer. Dan Lambert and Jake Roberts were at ringside. Lance dominated him for a very lengthy period of time, and you had a little bit of offense from Kazarian, but in the end, Archer was able to pick up the win with a choke slam, followed by a helicoaster slam, and then he finished him off with the blackout. The whole thing, actually, this probably could have been a quicker squash match. I have always been a big fan of Frankie Kazarian. He was the first guy we interviewed on Extreme Mayhem video back in the day. But I think this should have been a quicker squash match. Went on a little bit too long. But yeah, Archer got the win. And then afterwards, Tony Schiavone spoke to Dan Lambert. Dan Lambert was kind of rambling a little bit, said something about a hand job. And then you had Archer getting on the mic and saying that enough of the cowboy shit. He's going to make an example out of Kazarian, send a message to Adam Page, the world champ. He was going to choke slam Kazarian on a steel chair. Adam Page ran down, made the save, slapped him. They got into a brawl. Page got the upper hand and sent Archer over the top rope. And that's set up whenever their match is going to be. And there was a comment in the chat room as to when I think, or do I think that there's any possibility of Archer winning the title? And my answer is pretty slim to none. I think there's almost no chance. I think this is just a filler program for Adam Page, build him up as champion, give him a big win. Kind of like when Brody Lee challenged Jon Moxley for the world title in 2020, kind of just something to give the champion a strong win and a nice title defense. Do not think Lance Archer is winning that title. And Jose says, why have a rankings for a guy on a 3-month injury leave to get an instant title shot? Your guess is as good as mine. I think that they just want to have a filler feud here. And yeah, the rankings, they're just there to kind of make it feel like a legitimate sport and give some of these other guys, like the Acclaimed and like the Gun Club, some of these guys that are on the lower end, give them a nice win-loss record. They can win a bunch of matches on AEW Dark, and it kind of keeps them looking strong. I think that's the whole point of the rankings. I really don't think it serves any other purpose than to just use it as a tool to build up certain people. And backstage, we had a confrontation between Leyla Hirsch, Chris Statlander, and Red Velvet. Leyla was upset because they lost their tag match on Rampage, and she ended up attacking both Statlander and Hirsch, or not Hirsch, Statlander and Red Velvet. Hirsch effectively turning heel here, which is fine. Although, she's not the biggest dog in the yard, so might be difficult for people to take her seriously as a heel. I mean, she might be the smallest woman in the division, but we'll see how it goes. She's got those skills in the ring, those submission skills. Maybe she can pull it off. Dylan Hensley with a $2 super chat says the rankings reset after every year, everyone at 0. Yeah, but they do acknowledge that Adam Cole is undefeated in AEW. He hasn't lost a match. He's like 13-0. So they do continue to reference that despite the fact that the rankings reset in the new year. But thank you for that, Dylan. We had Serena Deeb versus Sky Blue in the 9:30 spot. Although we did have Chris Statlander and Britt Baker wrestling in the first match of the show. So the women actually technically did get 2 matches on this show. Crowd was really into Serena Deeb. I guess she was from the Washington, D.C. area. So the fans popped for her. They might have popped for her regardless of the town. Serena Deeb picked up an easy win here. short match, just an enhancement match, building her up, picked up the win with the Serenity Lock. And then backstage, we had Matt Hardy and Andrade reaching this business deal. They are going to be working together. There's a merger, and this group will now be known as the Andrade Hardy Family Office. And I wonder if this is going to lead to Matt Hardy eventually being overthrown, taken out of this group. Andrade becomes the new leader, and then Matt's by himself. But there's a certain someone that can come to Matt's aid and be by his side, a certain brother Nero. That's what I'm sensing, that eventually Andrade is going to take over the group. Matt goes babyface. Him and Jeff are back together in AEW. And I already answered Mike's question in the chat room. Where do I think this merger is going? I think Matt's going babyface pretty soon, and we're going to see the Hardys reunite as faces in a couple months, or whenever Jeff's 90 days are up. I think it's going to be like March. So it's coming. I'm thinking that's where this is going. And then we had our main event of the evening. We had Sting and Darby Allin against the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed had this little parody video in black and white of a Sting imposter running over the Darby imposter, and then Max Caster coming in with the attack on the fake Sting. And we had the little pre-match rap promo. And there was a reference to Starrcade 97, which was, in fact, in Washington, D.C., where Dynamite was this week. Caster said that they're going to have Sting looking worse than Starrcade 97. And, of course, that match is known for the botched finish between Hogan and Sting. Mo Camber with a $2.79 super chat. Thank you for that, Mo. Going off topic here a little bit, says WWE is garbage. He feels bad for Walter. He is money. Yeah, I mean, we'll probably talk about that on the No DQ review. Let's get back to Dynamite, but thank you, Mo Camera. Right off the bat, the Acclaimed attacked Sting and Darby Allin, and they took a chair. They wrapped it around the neck of Darby. They sent Darby into the ring post, and the trainers checked on him. Darby was taken out of the match, and Sting was all by himself in a handicap match situation. But Sting was able to hold his own for a while. He hit a couple Stinger splashes. We hit one, and then he went for another one, but he missed, and he hit this turnbuckle that was exposed by Max Caster. And then Anthony Bowens used the boombox on Sting. Sting was in a lot of trouble. They were going to finish off Sting, but then Darby Allin returned, coming back, kind of saw this coming. Darby taken out of the match and then comes back at the end. Darby hit a big coffin drop to the outside onto both guys, but the Acclaimed regained control. Sting broke up the pinfall, and then all hell broke loose. Everything broke down. Sting was up on the stage. He jumped off the stage, and he splashed Bowens, who was laid out on another timekeeper's table. They got a second one out there, and that one got broken as well. Sting put Bowens through the table, jumping off the stage, and of course the crowd loves seeing Sting doing this crazy stuff at 62 years of age, or however old he is. Then back in the ring, Bowens got a little taste of his own medicine. He got sent into the exposed turnbuckle, and Darby Allin picked up the 1-2-3 victory with the coffin drop. Sting and Darby picked up the win. Really entertaining match, Sting, he was, and Jose made this comment, it's weird with Sting with the t-shirt. I mean, the guy's 62, but he was still going out there doing stuff, and he jumped off the stage. Sting is doing the best he can, and, it was entertaining. I thought it was a fun match. Good way to wrap up the show here. Gary Joe thinks the Acclaim should have won to build up them as possible challengers for Jurassic Express. Yeah, I mean, you could be right on that, but they can always pick up some wins on Dark to build up their win-loss record, like I was mentioning earlier with that whole win-loss and the ranking system, how they use that to build up some people. DJW with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. DJ says, not all world champs need lengthy runs, in my opinion. It makes matches predictable. Seems like AEW only gives us upsets with the TNT championships. Well, they're really trying, Tony Khan and company, they're trying to make the world title as prestigious as possible and not hot shot it. You know, they want each champion to have a lengthy run. But you're right. At some point, you want to change things up a little bit and have a short run and have a surprise title change. I don't think it's going to happen with Lance Archer, though. I really don't. Like I've been saying, I think it's going to be MJF. I don't see Page losing that title until probably All Out at the earliest. They could build up MJF versus Adam Page for All Out and do the title change there. But that's, quite frankly, the soonest I see it happening. I think they're going to keep this going, build up a couple of guys for Page to beat, so he has a nice solid run. You know, he'll beat Lance Archer, and they'll bring in a few other upper card guys to feud with him, and then finally MJF will be the guy to get the win. That's what I'm thinking, at least. So that was Dynamite, everybody. Very good show this week. A step up above last week. You had some great promos. I mean, Cody's promo was really good. Moxley's was fantastic. Definitely worth checking out. And a couple solid matches on the show, too. Main event was fun. The opening match, the mixed tag, was fun. So I would absolutely recommend this episode of Dynamite. Really strong show. If I was letter grading it like the old days, probably a B+. Very good show. And for the most part, I would say worth your time to check out. Beach Break next week, going to be a really big one. Looking forward to that. And that's all I got for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the recap. And if you did, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and give the video a like. Spread the word, and remember to tell everybody, say yes to No DQ. Don't forget, nodq.com/merch if you want to support the site. We got tons of merchandise over there. 20% off using the code RUMBLE. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you all next time.